Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at this Love to Visit South Africa newsletter. And
Sounds exciting.
yeah, I'm really excited to unpack this. I was browsing through it earlier and, it's full of hidden gems.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially where it comes to Cape Point. I mean, it's interesting how the newsletter points out that it's popular,
Right.
but a lot of people don't know about the, real essence of it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Like,
Yeah.
what makes it such a draw for tourists if
Yeah.
they're kind of missing out on some of the best parts?
I think it's that wow factor. Cape Point has those cliffs, wildlife encounters, views that go on forever. You
I
know,
can only imagine.
it's just really something. And then the history, shipwrecks, all that.
Oh yeah, I can see that. It's definitely visually stunning, but
Right.
I feel like there's something more to it too.
Exactly. And that's where the newsletter really shines. For example, did you know Cape Point has all these hiking trails
No?
that lead to some of the shipwreck sites?
Well,
You can walk where those explorers walked.
that's so cool. Okay, I'm already hooked. Now let's move on from Cape Town for a bit. The newsletter also talks about Limpopo province,
Hmm.
and it
Yeah.
seems like there's more to it than just Kruger National Park.
Oh, absolutely. Limpopo is like a totally different side of South Africa. Think Venda and Sangha communities.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about those. What makes them so special?
Well, you could immerse yourself in their cultures. You'd see traditional villages, colorful festivals, incredible food.
Okay, you had me at food. I'm always looking for those authentic local flavors.
Yeah.
But tell me about these cultural encounters. What stands out in Limpopo?
One thing I think is really amazing is seeing a traditional Venda drumming and dancing performance.
Wow.
It's not just a performance, it's like an expression of their history and spirituality and the
This
energy.
sounds powerful.
It's contagious.
That's a travel experience, not just sightseeing. It's about connecting with the place.
Mhm.
But Limpopo also has that Soutpansberg mountain range, right?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing for hiking. Trails, waterfalls, views from the peaks.
Waterfalls, too. Okay, Limpopo is sounding better and better. So we've got Cape Town's coastline, Limpopo's culture and nature, and the newsletter also mentions some cool spots closer to Cape Town, right?
Mm-hmm. The Around the Web section has tons of them, like Duker Island. It's near Hout Bay,
Yeah.
and it's full of seals and seabirds. Boat tours get you right up close.
That does sound cool. And I remember reading something about Lawrenceford Estate in the Helderberg Mountains.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Lawrenceford Estate is beautiful. You've got vineyards, mountains, wine tastings, gourmet food, craft markets.
Wow, so many options. It's sounding like the perfect trip.
Yeah, and to make that happen, the newsletter reminds us about booking,
Oh, yeah, that's important.
especially during peak season, those special experiences in advance.
Right, yeah. Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, things like safaris, guided tours,
Uh-huh.
wine tastings, certain restaurants, performances, those things that can really make your trip.
Yeah, I get that. I remember this one time I was in Japan, and I really wanted to go to a traditional tea ceremony at this beautiful garden.
Oh.
But I didn't know you had to book weeks in advance, and when I got there,
Oh, no.
it was totally full.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it was disappointing. So yeah, planning ahead makes sense. But hey, speaking of unique experiences, we haven't talked about that only in South Africa section yet.
Yeah, that's a good one. It really highlights the Cape of Good Hope and that whole peninsula.
Okay.
You've got coastlines, cliffs, penguins.
Penguin.
Yeah. And hiking trails with amazing views.
Wow. The Cape Peninsula sounds incredible. So much packed into one area.
It really is. You can go from Cape Town's markets and culture to hiking on the coast all in one day.
That's what I like to hear.
And then there's a chance to see whales migrating off the coast.
Oh my gosh.
That's really special.
I'm getting so tempted to book a flight right now. But let's go back to Cape Point for a minute. The newsletter said many visitors miss out on some of its hidden depths.
Yeah.
What are some things people should keep an eye out for to really experience it properly?
I think it's about going beyond the obvious tourist spots and really getting into the history and nature of the area. Remember those shipwrecks?
Yeah.
Well, exploring those sites is like stepping back in time. You can imagine those sailors.
I can see it now. It's amazing how a place can be so beautiful and haunting at the same time.
Right.
So for someone going to Cape Point, what's your top tip for finding those hidden gems?
I'd say do your research. Don't just stick to guidebooks or the most popular things. Find those lesser-known trails, learn about the history, talk to the locals.
That's good advice. It's about being curious. Okay, before we wrap up our South African adventure, we should probably mention safety.
Definitely. South Africa has its own safety things to consider, like any destination. Be aware of your surroundings, especially in busy areas, and be careful about petty crime.
Like, don't flash your cash or walk around alone at night.
Exact. Also, it's a good idea to research the areas you're going to.
Yeah.
Some are safer than others. Ask locals, too.
Yeah.
They often know the best tips and places to avoid.
That's smart. It's all about being prepared so you can relax and enjoy everything.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make memories, not have worries.
So true. We've covered a lot today, from Cape Point to Limpopo and safety tips. What's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from this South African deep dive?
I hope they feel that sense of wonder and want to explore beyond the tourist traps. South Africa has such a unique mix of nature, culture, and adventure. There's something for everyone.
I love that. And don't forget those penguins.
Yeah, the penguins are a must-see.
I think we've all got a bit of the travel bug now.
Definitely. And remember to plan ahead and book those experiences in advance, especially during busy times.
Good advice. And who knows, maybe you'll even try making some fricadelles with onion gravy when you get back. It's like bringing a taste of South Africa home.
That's a great idea, a taste of adventure. And speaking of savoring, imagine you're standing at Cape Point, where the oceans meet. Wind in your hair, waves crashing, that feeling of the world stretching out in front of you.
Oh, wow. Now that's a picture.
Right?
So what's the takeaway from that?
It's a reminder that travel is more than just ticking things off a list. It's about using all your senses, experiencing different cultures, connecting with something bigger.
Yeah,
Sometimes the best moments are when you just stop and take it all in.
you're so right. Be present in those moments. Well, I think we've reached the end of our South African deep dive. A huge thank you to you for all your insights and to our listeners for joining us.
My pleasure.
We hope you learned something, got inspired, and maybe even started planning your trip. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep into the world around you. Those moments can be so powerful.
Yeah, and it seems like South Africa has so many of them. Whether you're at Cape Point or seeing a traditional dance or even just having a great meal.
Exactly. Speaking of which, I'm really looking forward to trying those fricadelles with onion gravy. Maybe we'll even have to do a follow-up episode
Oh, that'd be fun.
where I talk about my cooking adventures.
Yeah,
But for now, I think we've given everyone a good taste of what South Africa is all about.
definitely. We covered a lot in this deep dive.
Yeah, from hidden trails to penguins, culture to food. It seems like there's an adventure around every corner.
And that's the best part. South Africa makes you want to explore and go beyond the usual tourist stuff.
It really does. It reminds you that travel is more than just checking off destinations.
Right.
It's about opening yourself up to new experiences and coming home with all these amazing stories.
And a little bit of that South African magic.
Definitely. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our South African journey. A huge thank you to you for being such a great guide and to our listeners for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you're inspired to add South Africa to your travel list and to always keep exploring wherever you go. Until next time, happy travels.